This lesson shows you how a servlet can issue one of the defined error messages. Now, this servlet doesn't check anything. It just sends an error every time you try to display it. This method call, sendError, immediately sends the error, which means that this page is immediately abandoned. The server's default error handler page will be displayed unless there is a specific catcher defined for this error number. This example is sending an error code 401, and it has a message that goes with it. This message is available to the error handler page, and it can be displayed. Let me show you. I have defined a general purpose error message handler that displays all the information that it has available to it. This servlet calls the getAttribute method of the request object to return some information about the error. The first call returns the throwable object, the exception object that was thrown indicating an error. In the example I just showed you, no exception was thrown. The error originates with a method call, not an exception being thrown. This attribute is the class of the exception that was thrown when an exception is thrown. This is the text of the message accompanying the error. This is the URI of the page that issued the error message. This is the code number of the error, and this is the name of the servlet that issued the error. All that's left now in the code is to display the information. Here, the very first thing that happens is the header is being constructed. It begins with the status code, which is the number of the error that was sent by the call to send error. The rest of the header is the text of the message that was specified also on the call to send error. In this example, there is no exception. The error was not generated from a thrown exception. It came from a call to send error, so the exception variable is null. This means that the exception type is also null, so neither one will be displayed for this example. The URI is that of the page that issued the error message. It will be the relative URL of the page. This is the servlet name. Remember how a local name was set up to relate the tags inside the web.xml file? Well, this is that name. It doesn't have any use at all for the user, but it could be important to you for debugging because you can use it to find the web.xml entries for this servlet. Now, notice how these both are checked for being null. This is a general purpose error handler, so the error could have come from anywhere. It could have been a JSP page or an HTML page that issued the error. And this last one only comes about from a servlet. It's sort of useless if the error page crashes and doesn't display because of a null pointer. Now, here's how these two servlets are set up. Here is the servlet that generates the error. Whenever this servlet is displayed, it generates an error, and that's all it does. This is the servlet that processes the error, and this is the assignment of the exception to the servlet. Notice how it is exception number 401 that is set as the error code that maps error code 401 to the general handler servlet. Attempting the display of the error 401 servlet brings up this error page. Now, here you see the error report. Notice that there is no exception information because this error did not come from an exception.